This is Jay Jackson, lineman for Stuttgart Surge, and you're listening to That American Football Show.
Welcome to That American Football Show, powered by EP Sports. EP Sports is the top supplier in the UK for all your American football needs, helping players and coaches reach their potential since 2007. Check them out at epsports.co.uk. Today we have another guest from the European League of Football joining us. We're delighted to welcome Jay Jackson, former defensive lineman for the Hertfordshire Hurricanes, including a defensive MVP in his final year. He also played for the mighty London Blitz, the Hertfordshire Cheetahs, and is now intending on starting the Premier season of the EFL with the Stuttgart Surge. Jay, thank you for coming on. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much for such a great introduction. I'm doing absolutely great, enjoying the sun, the last sunny days in the UK as we know it. We all know the weather tends to switch up, but trying to get as much training in while I can, really.
Absolutely, yeah. You're going to leave and take the sun away from us all, aren't you?
I hope to leave a little bit with us.
This is the first time in ages I'm wearing a t-shirt and I'm in Scotland. You can see by the colour of my face. I'm not used to the sun up here. So, first question for you. Tell us about how you got into American football, where it all began for you, and how you ended up with the Stuttgart Surge. Is it true that you actually contacted the EFL yourself and got yourself the job?
So, let's start the start of the story, which is mainly how I got into American football. So, ironically, I had researched American football when I was about 17, 18. During my gap year before I went into university, I'd grown a little bit of an interest from American football as a result of my uncle. Unfortunately, passed away. He lived in America, always encouraged me to try and get involved in the sport, and I was like, how am I supposed to do that in the UK? Had a little research, found out there was teams in the UK, but then I saw the subs, the subs payment, and I wasn't working that much, and I couldn't expect my parents to foot that bill, so I kind of gave it a full go it until I went to university. Now, I heard about the team, Hertfordshire Hurricanes. There was tryouts and such, but I didn't have any gear with me, didn't bother going. And then it actually came to semester B, one of the guys that was on my course, Mo, he came up to me and he was like, "Oh, you should really try out." I was like, I don't know if it's for me and such. So I went back and forth, and he was like, no, get your stuff this weekend. Make sure that when you go down, you pick up your boots and come out. Came out, started my journey as a wide receiver, but couldn't run any route. Couldn't catch properly and such. So quickly was converted to a D lineman to make sure I could get some reps before the end of the season, and that's pretty much where I stayed. Took it quite lightly the first year. Second year, took it a little bit more seriously. And then third year was really it when one guy that was on the team, Mitch Arthur, turned around to me and said, it's time for you to take over now. And I was thinking, what do you mean? So coming into that third year, a lot was going on in the background. That same uncle unfortunately fell ill. And I feel like his driving force kind of pushed me further into the sport, and it pushed me and it helped. I mean, everyone knows that sports can sometimes be a way of letting out a lot of stress, frustration and such, and it really did help, and it showed on the field with as your aforementioned defensive MVP trophy. And then from there I just spoke to different people, spoke to my coach Fab, and I said I want to take this as far as I can, work towards it. At times it did fall off. 2019 was notoriously a bad year for me. Personally, that same uncle passed away. There was a lot of things going on in my life at that point. And I hit a really low point, but building myself back up, going back to the gym, working my ass off, learning new things about the sport, about how to get myself back into the right shape to take this seriously was a massive part of it. I'll be honest. And yeah, so from there, I'd changed. By then, I'd changed teams to Cheetahs, worked hard. Got to come out for a tryout. I had a few different teams looking into me. So that 2019 season, I wasn't in shape and I wasn't ready to go out. But I did have a team, 3 teams reach out to me. So you had Prague Lions, I had Siena Jockey Crocodiles at the time, and Nice Dolphins. So, but yeah, I really wasn't in the right type of shape or mindset to get out. So worked hard, managed to get a tryout with Dusseldorf last year, but as we know, COVID took over that whole year, especially when it comes to sports. And then this year it was just literally, I just said I can't allow myself to just become complacent. So 2020, I worked hard, learned new things, tried to focus on different things that I hadn't focused on. So like stuff like balance, making sure that the smaller areas of my body are in tune, working on my coordination, and started picking up work with ATP Performance. Yeah, amazing platform. Listen, if you're trying to get yourself ready, be it in the UK or abroad, go to them. And then Excel Performance for my football specific work as well. And yeah, I guess the work showed. I had a few interests from GFL teams, and then I reached out to a few ELF teams. I was prompted by a few people who said, why don't you try for it? And I was like, why not? So I just reached out to a few, and weirdly enough, it garnered attention of others as well. So before even like settling with Stuttgart, I was in conversation with a couple of other teams there, and really and truly, it was just like keeping that constant conversation going, keeping that conversation alive, and eventually it led me to stick with Stuttgart.
That's an amazing story. I'm sure your uncle will be super proud of you, if you don't mind me saying.
Thank you, man.
Do you mind if I ask him why you chose Stuttgart, if there was a couple of interests?
I think with Stuttgart, it was just as I said, constant conversation, the clarity from the get-go, and I feel like it's just when a team wants you, it shows straight away. Like from the get-go, they will conversate with me, Zoom calls straight away, made it clear their intentions of what they wanted and such. And it kind of gave you that really homely feeling. Like every team, as I say every team that I've played for has made me feel like a brother, more so than a pawn or someone that you're just moving around the field. And that feeling of welcoming and also really pushed me towards Stuttgart over most.
I think that's like in life, whether it's playing a sport or a job. It's nice to feel wanted and appreciated. So you're going to work harder for someone that actually shows you the love and wants you to be there.
Definitely, most definitely. And then I just looked into more, because obviously with Stuttgart being one of the few franchises initially that was connected to a GFL team, I looked back on their game tape and like how they play, and I really liked the type of football that they played, and I thought that I could be a piece in that sort of in that scheme itself. So I just started looking over their previous highlight tape, and it really looked good. So I think mentally I just put myself in the mindset that that's where I was going.
Yeah, no, mate, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, that whole story was proper inspirational. It's nice to see when you're saying you're down and low and you're coming back and to where you're going now, mate. It's quality. You mentioned that you were on the D line. Is it true that you are now switching to offensive line? Looking through on the Stuttgart Surge sort of like roster, it says you're on the O line. I mean, how has that change come about?
So this was I am going to be playing O line as well. But this was one of the key points that when we spoke about, when I spoke about with our head coach, that I'll be playing quite a few positions. It's not just O-line or D-line. I'll be playing O-line, D-line, and maybe another position that I'll let them decide when the time comes. I think if anyone sees me on my socials, and also they can probably have a guess as to where that is as well. But so it was a change. When I was first confronted with it. At first I was a bit shocked, but then I had a few conversations with some of my coaches, some of my colleagues, and they said, with all due respect to my D lineman friends, they said, you're way too intelligent to just be sitting down and just doing that. So they say, listen, at the end of the day, the way it works is that playing something opposed to you really will help you develop your game. Even if you want to continue as a D lineman and such, they say, just being able to see how they play their position will make your understanding of how to play the position 10 times better. Because if I know that a guy's going to shoot his hand this way or that way, I know how to then counteract it automatically. And as I said, I kind of live and breathe football at the moment. Unfortunately, the way my desk is set up, you don't get to see the ensemble around the rooms. But yeah, definitely, I just looked at it as another opportunity to grow and develop as a football player.
Yeah, so you reckon that experience then of being on the other side of the line when you end up playing O-line is going to give you a bit of an advantage then?
Almost definitely. I believe that just working hard towards anything, I'll be able to achieve it. I know that there's a steep hill to climb because, as I said, like I've not really done more O linemen than anyone else, than just a few reps in training. But I do make sure that I'm looking at the right sort of steps. I've consulted different coaches, different players, some of my friends out there. Shout out to Ollie, Son Mola. Shout out to Keith Riley, great American footballers that have just giving me tips and telling me how to really play the position. They've been playing it for years, and they're the ones that made me such a great defensive lineman. So let me make sure that I'm able to become an O lineman off the back of them as well.
And just from I'd like to have a hunch on what that third position is. Is it a short yardage fullback?
Short yardage fullback.
That's what
unfortunately, I haven't been consulted about that one just yet. But don't, please. 3 positions is enough. If you give them any other ideas, I might go on the field all the way through the game.
That's crazy.
Adam used to play fullback, so as many times as you can get a question in about fullbacks, he will.
Okay, interesting.
The portable O-line, that's what they called me.
Yeah.
So you've talked a bit about kind of your training regime, both with you getting from 2019 to and going into 2020. Looking forward to playing for the Stuttgart Surge, like over the recent kind of months. What has your training regime been to get ready for the season?
Okay, that's a big one. So first things first, it was like moving from, I say, 2019 to 2020. I just started going back to the gym. I had neglected the gym a massive amount in before 2019. Just started working in the gym, consulted one of my friends. He was a PT, and he got me in this program. Unfortunately, the program was I'd say more tuned to bodybuilding, but it taught me how to sort of gym correctly. So just being able to go to the gym, get in that mindset, get your reps done, get your sets done, and get out. So 2020, I really focused on my flexibility, not necessarily focused on how heavy I can lift, but how quickly I can lift it and how correct I can lift it as well. Unfortunately, slipped a disc in my lower back at one point, but rehabbed it, got it back to where it's supposed to be. Now that's a thing of the past. Worked towards sort of again becoming more athletic. So I went and actually worked with an online program with OTA. So overtime athletes in the States. They were taking some online applicants. I worked with them for a couple of months, but because of the COVID situation and gyms being closed and open and closed, we didn't really get as much working as I'd hoped. So coming to the end of last year, I had reached out to Coach Excel to get some more football specific work in. So a couple of weekends, it was literally just the Saturdays. I'd go down, we do a little bit of work down by where is it? I'm trying to think of it. It's not Market Road. Hendon, down in Hendon, Collindale area. We just get some work in. It showed me where I am football specific wise, and it showed me that I do have a lot of way to get back to where I was, and I need to even surpass that. So I just kept it going for weekends. Came into the new year, and I was like, unfortunately over Christmas I got COVID, so I was sort of recovering from that one. And then I was like, you know what? While I'm still recovering, or maybe the lungs are a little bit lower, let's treat this as like altitude training, because your lung capacity isn't as great, but if I'm working and I'm working at a consistent pace through that, by the time my lungs do recover, I should be a lot better than I am. So I reached out to ATP. They were more than welcoming. Lord knows I was very rusty by the time I went out there. They were more than accommodating for me, letting me rest a little bit, let me get myself back into shape, and it's just literally been building from there. And I'm pretty sure that they probably have a couple of videos showing me the before and after, because my running technique and things like that, so my speed training, running technique, change of direction, explosiveness, I'd have to give it all to them, because without them I would not be able to show my talents in such a way. So it's just been that. So with ATP it was 3 days a week, and then 1 day a week with Excel, so that's 4 days a week, some form of field training. As the gym started opening, we dropped the days with ATP just down to 2, and I'm doing 1 day with Excel, and then I'm doing 3 days of gym in between. So they might double up on some days, or they might be separate days as well. And that's just literally been it.
And when it comes to like like the mental side of stuff, like classroom tape, scouting stuff. Is there much you can do at this point when you're not over there with the team in the meetings, looking at other teams and stuff, where there's not much scouting material as well? Is that something you can focus on, or is it more just the physical aspect right now?
Oh no, that's something that's also integral. I mean, with the nature of this league being a brand new league, there's not much previous tape I could look over and such. So literally, it was just a case of just trying to investigate where I can and just refine my own technique. Up until maybe a couple of weeks ago, probably about 3-4 weeks ago, when we actually started doing classroom sessions. So we'd break down practice tape and all sorts. Although I'm not physically there because of the situation with COVID, they're doing it through Zoom anyway.
All right.
So I was able to still be a part of that and such. So I think with our last weekend, where they had the combined practice with Frankfurt, and then they've got the Cologne one this week. It gave more of a chance for us to look over what our opponents look like, how they run their sets and such, and sort of adjust to that. So that's given me enough to look over in the meantime. But I just to comment on what you said, it is a little bit more difficult because sometimes when you're trying to do install and also so you're not physically there to install it, it does lead a little bit. It just means that I've just got more to catch up on when I get there.
So the first game's just over 2 weeks away, and you're going to be there a little bit later than that. But how are you feeling about the new season? Are you excited for kickoff like we are?
Oh yeah, I'm over the moon. I've loved the way that they've handled the media side of things. How they kept it very quiet, and they slowly built it up, and it alongside with the natural build up for fans, their curiosity, it's given them more and more to be like, even everyone more and more to be a lot more sort of excited for that final day, that night before the 19th, where kickoff will start. So you have things such as, I mean, I've never even heard of it, but like the packages that they're doing for fans, I was like, that's amazing. So that's already starting that tailgating feeling of an American football game. Not to mention like how they've now shown how the media test and all sorts. Now there's going to be VR on the field where you can see the lines. I mean, we haven't seen that over this side of the pond, unless it was conducted by the NFL. So again, these are things that that's really bringing a lot of excitement and a lot of professionalism to the game, and I just can't wait to watch that game. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be a part of it, but to be honest, it's just an amazing experience so far, be it from a fan's perspective or a player like myself.
As you said, from our point of view, the league has been really helpful to us, giving us access to players. We've had so many players on. It's been really great to get a feel for the league and also to experience the interviews as well.
I'm telling you, like it's a great, as I said, it's a great thing to see so much coming together in such a way that you don't want to, as I said, you don't want to be preemptive in saying it, but to see that professionalism coming to the point where it's like, this is what I've been watching on TV for the last however many years, and now we've got a very own. It might not be as big as the NFL. We'll be very honest and clear cut with that, but you can see that it's got the trappings to make it into something amazing.
Yeah, and like you said, the socials, they've like from really quiet kind of, we caught on fairly early, fortunately, but they've slowly started ramping it up, and every single week you feel like they're bringing something new out for the fans or the players to look at. It's professional. That's the word you give it.
Yeah,
I think we've got to give him a shout out. We kind of heard of it through Cadell King, who's now playing linebacker for Frankfurt. I think he's been on the show quite a few times. So got to give Cadell a shout out for letting us know about the EFL very early on, actually.
Yeah, Cadell, I managed to get a little bit of work with him back when he was in the UK with ATP, and he's a great guy, man. He gave enough mentorship to me, telling me about how things go, different things abroad. Obviously, with him playing in Canada before as well.
Yeah.
At university level, just telling me how to sort of take care of yourself while you're in different places and such. I have a lot of respect for him, and I can't wait to see him on the field as well.
Yeah, totally. And talking of Cadell, I mean, there's quite a fair few British players in the league. I mean, how many of these guys have you played with, played against? Like, I'm guessing you know quite a few of them fairly well.
Yeah, so I've come across quite a few. I don't know some of them. I've heard of some of them, and you might follow each other on Instagram. But as I said, I've met Cadell, I've worked with Cadell. I haven't been the most haven't paid enough attention. I'd say that I should. So if you were to tell me names, I might be able to tell you. But I know Ashley. Ashley, I mean, we both played at Hurricanes together. He's actually the guy that taught me how to catch. So I can catch the ball now. I'll be honest with you, I can catch the ball now. But he told me, just a simple triangle for anything above the waist and pinkies for anything below the waist. So yeah, man. Ashley's like my brother out there, man. But even just looking at just the landscape as it is, looking at how many of the British players have just gone abroad this year in Europe, it's like every other week we're hearing a signing, and it's great to see that a lot of them are guys that I used to play with either at Blitz, Hearts, or Hurricanes, really.
It's funny that you said about the catching, especially when you first started playing, you went in for wide receiver, because from experience, it's like you go in for wide receiver. If you can't catch, you then go look at other positions.
Yeah, most times if it's literally that. If you go in as wide receiver, you can't catch. Most times you end up on defense.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, I'm a failed wide receiver who couldn't run, couldn't catch, managed to break a finger in a warm-up catching the ball with bad technique. So that was the end of my career.
So kind of other cities in Europe, obviously we've got the 8 teams going on, and they've talked a lot about wanting to get the expansion going on early into the second year. Is there teams you'd like to see in the ELF? Obviously, I'm sure a London team's high on the board for yourself, but are there other teams you'd hope would make an entrance into the league?
Okay, so with that one, like I've listened to a few different podcasts talking about the league as well. One of them had regularly mentioned Austria, and I think that's that's definitely a country where they could definitely put forward a team that would be able to compete in the same level. I think that Austria when you look at Austria, it is quite up there where we talk about Premier American football in Europe itself. France is another franchise that I think could also definitely put forward a team. They have many teams out there and such, and the level of play from what I've seen from like watching GB games and such is high as well. Other than that, obviously I'm biased. I want a London team. To be able to play American football professionally is a dream, but to be able to play American football professionally in my country is beyond the dream. They say shoot for the stars, and if you don't, at least you'll fall on top of the world. That's what I want to see.
That's a fantastic saying.
But definitely, I'd love to see a team from Austria, a team from France. There's all these obviously conversations about that one of the teams that folded this year, but they say that they do want to be a part of the second season or seasons going forward. So if they would, let's say, to give another 3 extra expansions on top of that would be 4 extra teams. And yeah, definitely.
So who's your NFL team?
My NFL team. Now I'm going to say this, and I say this with honesty. It's Eagles pre-Super Bowl. Yeah,
I'm fine with that. I'm good with that, bro. It's fine. Yes.
There we go. Pre-Super Bowl.
First Eagles fan we've had.
Yeah, I've watched football on and off over the years because of my uncle and all sorts. When I was younger, I didn't know much about football, but I did know about Brian Dawkins.
Yes.
I did know about T.O., Deshaun Jackson, and definitely Michael Vick. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're literally the first Eagles fan we've had on. I'm so excited. It's always fucking Joe's Patriots.
I was hoping we'd never get an Eagles fan, just to rub it in, Adam, but it's got to be Sunday.
Eagles. We have never had a Raiders fan on. Not one. Not a single Raiders.
No, Raiders is. I feel like Raiders is just one of those teams like husband. Raiders, Ravens. They're just teams that you support, but you're not really a supporter. You're not a fan. Yeah.
Where's the disconnect button?
Like you might not necessarily be a fan, but you support Raiders. I mean, I've got a Raider flag in my room just there behind me as well. Yeah. But another team I'd say I like watching is the Bills as well. Obviously, they've got quite a few of our UK guys on the roster as well. Mm-hmm. But like they're just playing exciting football, really exciting football. I've been watching them a lot more these last few years, and yeah, definitely.
So, as the most important question, how good is Devontae Smith?
He's amazing.
Oh my God, I'm so excited we picked him.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy that our picks are coming through. Sad to see Wentz go, but obviously we saw
Yeah.
saw him sort of dropping off and tailing off, and unfortunately with the history that he's had so far with being injured in the postseason, it's hard to sort of hold on to a player like that.
Yeah.
But I wish him well at Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think that's the opinion of most Eagles fans, is that we're sad to see Wentz go. We want him to do well in the Colts, but it just didn't work anymore. And we got Jalen Hurts, he looks right on form.
There we go. What more is there to say?
Brilliant. So why should people support Stuttgart?
Why should people support Stuttgart? I think people should support Stuttgart because just as a whole, it's a brotherhood. One, it's a brotherhood. Two, as we've all seen, and like, this is not me, like I'm not a boastful person. I'm not someone that really takes much attention into certain commentary. But as we've all seen, especially when it comes to these power rankings, be it through a podcast, be it through Instagram posts, they're always putting us towards the bottom. So I take it as an underdog story. I like an underdog story. I mean, everyone likes an underdog story as well. We've got some real ballers over there. I feel like because we might have been a little bit quieter than other teams, people have really underestimated us. So it's always good to watch exciting football from that aspect, if you understand what I mean. If you've got someone that you're not really paying attention to, and we're playing really good football, which we are, then what more can you expect? You're gonna watch an amazing game, really smash mouth football that we're used to in the previous days. So yeah.
Football's played on grass, not paper. Until you've played a game, you can't rank people.
Exactly.
I love looking at rankings and things like that, but it's impossible. You can't say one team's going to be better than the other just because on paper they look better.
Yeah, and I would say there's quite a lot of homegrown talent through Stuttgart as well. Like obviously we have our imports and such, and like the team is built primarily off German homegrown players, and I look forward to learning from them as well, because it's good to say that we have quite a lot of people coming in from different countries, different places, but when you actually look at the homegrown talent and such, like they might be able to build much more upon my talents than I ever would have brought to them, and vice versa. Like football is football regardless of where you come from, and I feel like just seeing that them really invest back into their guys, it shows the type of organization I'm going into.
100%. And like, I ain't gonna lie, we've gone through all the teams and talked about them and gone in depth and telling people what they should put. And Stuttgart are my lead runner at the moment for team to follow. I haven't quite like completely cemented it, but they're the front runner by quite some way. And I tell you what, some of the reason I quite like is the fact, obviously being a Patriots fan, you've got Jacob Johnson.
Exactly. So
sort of almost like I don't even know what to call him. I know he's got a big part in the organization and he wants to grow it, but that must be pretty cool having like an NFL player who's been in Europe and gone over there trying to make this team something big.
Obviously, like it's amazing that like when you look back at it, obviously they have because of the connection to Stuttgart Scorpions, you can see where they've had a history of developing players to that elite level, because as you've seen through the I think it's the most recent video that NFL put out regarding the NFL player program. And you have Bill Belichick saying that he came in with that mindset that he's playing hard and all sorts. He said it took him pretty much no time to get promoted from the practice squad to the active roster, which is pretty much unheard of, especially when it comes to us. I feel like us Europeans, we get like quite a steep hill to get up and above when we're trying to get into the NFL too. So to see that from Jacob, and to see that I'm going to a team that is connected to that, why not? Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's great football. I'm looking forward to be playing.
You'll recognise real, innit?
Yeah, you'll recognise your iron sharpens iron.
Right. So final little bunch of questions we've got. We like to ask everyone this just to get an idea of who you are as a person.
Yeah.
So you are on a desert island for a year. You get to bring one of these following objects each. So what is the one meal you will have an unlimited supply of?
Unlimited supply of? Ooh, this is a hard one. Meal. You see me, I love food a lot. But I'm trying to think practically. I'm trying to think, okay, I could turn around and say pancakes or something like that. But I was like, is pancakes gonna keep me alive for a year? Probably not. Boy, this is this is a curveball. This is a different type of curveball I wasn't expecting. I'd have to say, if I was to talk about it, I'd say spaghetti bolognese.
Yes.
This is so plain. This is not what I would choose in a restaurant or anything, but I'm just looking at from the practicality of it. Spaghetti bolognese, because you get your meat, your carbs, and then let's say a side of salad. That's it. That way, if I eat that every day, unlimited supply, I'll at least survive the experience itself.
All right. And alongside your meal, you get to have one album to listen to.
One album to listen to. Ooh. You know what? I always say this to people, and I say I have my own type of artist. I like Blast. I like listening to Blast and such. But you know what? Drake's Nothing Was the Same, the extra edition. Yeah.
Yes.
I can sit down and listen to that, start to finish, over and over again. It's the one album that I could say that about. And to be honest, my friends will hate me. My friend Najee, we're always arguing about it because he says, it's not Drake's best album. I was like, listen, I look at listenability. Yeah, if I can listen to start to finish without skipping, then I think that album is amazing. And that's one of the albums. So I just sit down, keep my feet up. So Desert Island, got a good vibes. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Jay. I mean, I'm a massive Drake fan, and Nothing Was the Same ain't my favorite. Like, I'm a Take Care boy, and that's just how I am. But you're right. Just going from Tuscan Leather all the way through to the end, you don't skip anything.
Exactly. So
I feel like I'm going to be listening to that today now.
There we go.
You got it.
I've inspired you.
Right. So sharing this island with you, you get to bring one celebrity, dead or alive. Who are you taking with you?
And just to point out, they will be alive even if they were dead.
Yeah, you're not
taking a dead body with.
Yeah, I mean, like the desert island vibes and the dead body. I think I would have gone Lucy by then. This is another hard one. I guess.
Last week we had Zach Edwards just say bring Tom Brady for training.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have the option to train as well, I mean, a year working with the best of the best. I mean, I might have to take LT then. He's the best. He's
Prime LT.
As I say, prime LT. If I had prime LT to teach me how to be a football player, oh my god, I'd come off the island and I'm entering whatever draft that they have available for me.
Okay, on this island, you get to follow one sports team for the entire year. Who are you watching?
Okay, you know what? It's between obviously my Eagles and the Bills. Then
okay,
yeah, I'm trying to watch amazing football, but then they don't play sports all year round. So I'm getting 17 weeks of 52. It's a bit of a tough one. I mean, if I was to be able to watch all of their games, so as many games as I can from, let's say, 2014 all the way through, then yeah, I'd definitely watch my Eagles.
Good. And finally, you've got water with you, but you get to bring one drink with you as well.
Okay, if we're talking about a little bit of alcohol, like I don't really have juice and all sorts. We're talking about alcohol. I have to have my rum and coke. I have to rep my home. I'm Jamaican through and through, so I need to make sure that I'm bringing some either Ray and Nephews or maybe a little bit of Kraken. I like my spice rum as well. Kraken rum is amazing. So yeah,
I had a bad experience with Ray and Nephew once.
Yeah, listen, I don't think anyone who drinks Ray and Nephews has ever not had a bad experience. You have to have at least one bad experience with it to remind yourself that this is a tough drink. You don't have it just for fun.
I remember at uni when I was doing, I became social sec in my second year. The ritual was to do 6 shots of Ray and Nephew. Oh my! I don't even do shots. I'm not a big drinker. Holy shit!
Oh wow! They really love you. They really love you. They must love you because I can't imagine someone offering me 6 shots of Ray and Nephew. And
I can't imagine it. I don't want
to. No, please don't.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything you want to say to our listeners? Any socials you want to plug or anything like that?
So I want to say I want to say a couple shout. As I said, I'll shout out to ATP, shout out to Glenn and Mike. I mean, they're doing something amazing in the UK with all that training and with all the training, the programs, how much they sort of pay attention to how you're working, and they'll explain things to you, which is something that's amazing. Shout out to XL Performance again. Without them, my actual football specific stuff would not be where it's at. Shout out to Hertfordshire Cheetahs, Hurricanes and London Blitz. These are teams that took me in and help develop me as a player as I go through. Even more so, I'd say like Cheetahs, again, during that tough time, that brotherhood really helped me through it. Family as well, family, friends, shout out to all my nigglets as well, my friendship group. Man, them, again, I wouldn't be here without you. All my football guys, I shouted out a few of them already in this video. What else is there? The football game in Britain is developing at a much higher rate than people are giving it respect for. We're as we know, we're an amateur sport in the UK, but we're developing semi-pro and professional type of talent. I always say that there's a mix of us there, and I feel like there should be a lot more eyes on the UK going forward. Again, and then just one shout out to Uncle. I know he's watching. I know I'm making sure he's proud and such, and I just continue this journey. Socials, Jackal40XL, .xl. Everyone follow that up. Make sure that you're paying attention to my journey. Jackal's journey. I made a YouTube channel. Stopped for a bit because I was at university and I didn't have much time and all sorts. But it should be making a revitalization over this next couple months. So follow that as well. That's Jackal's journey on YouTube as well. I'm sure they'll be able to put some links somewhere in this video.
We got you.
There we go. Other than that, thank you guys for having me on. It was a surprise when you guys reached out for me, and I just hope that we're able to build a relationship and we can see that in the future.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You've had a great time talking to you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man.
Oh no, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll be following you the entire time. I'm going to subscribe to Jackal's journey right now, and yeah, we'll be talking.
I've already done it. I'm gonna lie. I've just clicked subscribe just then.
Thank you guys, man. I appreciate you all.
Oh no, appreciate you coming on there. All our listeners, please check out our YouTube where we're going to have this interview on there, or follow us on our socials, which are Joe.
Our Twitter and Instagram is at TAFS_UK. Our Facebook is That American Football Show, and our YouTube, go check it out, That American Football Show as well. Of course, if you're watching it, make sure you subscribe to us.
There we go.
A big thank you to Jay today. Thanks everyone for listening. Make sure you head over and check out our friends at EP Sports for all your NFL or equipment needs. And we will see you next time.
Amazing.